So give us a little bit of like the Cliff's Notes of your origin story. You went from law school to masturbation entrepreneur.
Yeah, same stuff, really. I didn't change anything about what I was doing, if you think about it.
Welcome back to Private Parts Unknown, a podcast about love and sexuality around the world. I'm your host, Courtney Kocak, and I am so excited to introduce you to today's guest.
Hi, my name is Brian Sloan, and I'm the inventor of the Autoblow. Yeah, look, I graduated from law school in 2005, and while I was in law school, I discovered auctions, antique auctions, and I started buying stuff and selling it on eBay, and it just seemed like really fun. And working as a lawyer, the prospect of working as a lawyer seemed increasingly less and less fun the deeper I got into law school. And so when I graduated, I moved to Chicago, started buying anything I could buy from any kind of auction, selling it on eBay, and eventually grew into selling fetish wear, importing fetish wear from China.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I knew what sold on eBay and there weren't enough sellers of fetish wear. And then I got kind of big and tall customers asking for custom fetish wear. Yeah, long story short, I ended up going to China to buy antiques on a trip just to see if I could pay for like a vacation by buying antiques in Beijing. And I met all these people there. And I went on 5 trips and decided to move there. I ended up living there for 10 years. And it's there when I moved to China, I got off of eBay. I thought, okay, I need something scalable. Started selling latex on my own website. Learned that the world of fetish wear wasn't as scalable as I had imagined it to be. And at the time, then it just, I was like, well, what else can I do? I liked that I had a good market in an adult because people were kept out of it. Now it's now sex toys are like, oh, it's so healthy and normal. But trust me, in 2008, it wasn't like that at all.
Totally.
And so I liked that fetish wear was weird. And then I like, well, what can I do that's weird that's not fetish wear? And it turned out at the time that I just was like on the internet all day, every day. And there wasn't a good sex toy for men. They were like garbage. They were like toxic garbage, all of them. And so I thought, well, Fleshlight was the only popular brand at the time that had built like a name for itself. But it was a handheld thing. And I thought, how is the world advancing in all other spheres? But in sex toys for men, the world is like still in 1975. Like we're having sex with rubber butts. So I set about my journey. I've been doing this 17 or 18 years now, just building my first machine for men. I called it Autoblow. And I've just been 17 years iterating on this concept of making a better and better and better pleasure device for men.
Are you your like user zero or whatever? Are you like in the weeds, got to make this right? Are you your first customer?
I mean, we're not. Yeah, I mean, no. I mean, look, I wasn't. People think like, oh, you must have been like super into sex toys and you knew everything about it. No, I didn't know anything about sex toys. I never even used a sex toy before I started making them. Honestly, I just knew that it was so clear to me that just men would want a blowjob machine that does the work for them. Yeah. And I thought, well, there must be this thing already. And you're like looking, you're like, wait a minute, there's not this obvious thing. And then I just said about now, of course, I test all the things. Like I understand the needs of my guys, my customers. And we don't have like a giant testing team. It's really me and one guy at the factory likes to test stuff too. But I use myself as a proxy for all human men, and I do the work.
So far, so good. Yeah, women also want a blowjob machine for men. That
you'd be surprised. I would think so too. But to be honest, one thing I've learned doing this for this long is that women are very. They're not only turned off by our machines, they're scared of them and they're threatened by them.
I don't agree. I just think that's a double standard I know so many women, including myself, who love their toys. So it's such a double standard to be like, gross, they can't.
Agree. But there's different emotions in it. I mean, I learned this from both from real life, from friend stories, from our customers. The way that the sort of masturbation industry has evolved, it's healthy and good for women, and there's a lot of good words that are associated with women's sex toys. But for the way that women feel about men's toys, the larger and more complex they are, the more threatened and weird that women tend to think it is. That is like a truth I've learned from doing this for this long. So
that's so interesting.
14-pound behemoth called Vacuum Glide that has this air tube and all these attachments. a lot of women. I just had lunch with a guy today. We talked about this. He said that he's asked his wife if she would play with such things with him, and her attitude is like, it's kind of this ick face. And he was like, wait a minute, but isn't this thing, you have one of those kind of women's toys in your drawer? Why is it so weird? And he says it's just even hard to talk about.
Oh, that's so interesting. I wonder if there's like some sociologists should do a study or whatever, but it's kind of reminds me of like how when women are bisexual, it's like cool. But when men are bisexual, people are like, you're gay. You know what I mean? There's just like such a double standard about sexuality with men. Anyway, unfair. We could do a whole episode about that, honestly.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about China, because I'm reading all these articles like China is about to usurp us and like the technology over there is crazy. What was your experience living there?
Oh, I mean,
yes.
I don't want to say like we're doomed, but kind of, I mean, we're kind of doomed. It's like playing if you had two basketball teams and one of them is like 5 feet tall and the other are like 100 Michael Jordans. Look, first I'll tell you what it was like to live there. It was incredibly interesting, and I never had a boring day in 10 years. I don't know so much that it was related to China, like the country itself, or the fact that I lived in like the center of everything in Beijing, where people were there from all over the world, and everyone like moved there to follow their dreams and do whatever the thing was they wanted to do. There was a very permissive environment there for foreigners.
Really?
And for many years. Now, not at all. But there for many years, people were there on all kinds of weird visas. Imagine just being somewhere like on a business tourism kind of visa and just renewing that every 3 months for 10 years. And people just did all kinds of stuff and the government didn't care. And then suddenly the government started caring. But look, it was a period of tremendous growth. You know, when I moved there to this one apartment, there was a field across. I remember telling my parents, like, oh, there's just this big field across from where I live. 2 years later, there was like a 10,000 people like development of apartments and businesses. You know, I mean, things changed so quickly, and the society is just like zoomed forward. It was a very incredible and interesting time to be there. But yeah, on this, like the stuff you see in the news, yeah, you see it only from the American perspective. Like they're like, well, why is China restricting their rare earths? And it's like, you know that the U.S. doesn't let any of these chip companies export their chips to there, right? There's like 100 things that the U.S. has done to it. But when you sort of like read about it in the paper or whatever, you get like a snippet of only the things they're doing to us, but they totally downplay the things that we're doing to them. And they don't really need, I mean, they need our stuff in the short term, but they don't need our stuff in the long term. And they hold basically all the cards in that. It's not, I mean, what bargaining position are you in when they have all the stuff you need for modern life and you have like, you're not willing to pollute your, I mean, we have it actually in the US, you know that. Yeah, we're just not willing to do the pollution to the environment and to the people that it takes to extract it. So when you have people who are willing to do that, you pretty much need to buy your shit from them unless you're willing to pollute like whatever, some huge swath of like the mountains in Colorado. Then you need to buy the stuff from them. So they have a lot of cards, and it's a transactional kind of culture. But if you like fuck with them, they endured like hundreds of years of humiliation from foreign countries, like colonizing them. There's like a deep thing about not getting fucked over by Western countries. And so there's no like beating them. They will like starve the whole country before they'll give in to like demands from Western countries again. So there you have it.
Okay. Wonderful. You totally reassured me. Yeah. Did you feel the like lack of free speech? I mean, that's a whole issue going on here, but no, you didn't feel it?
Look, China in many ways, I'm not like a China apologist. Like I get the issues. I lived there. But in many ways, people's lives are in a way more free there than they are here. People can say whatever they want there, but they cannot, in an organized way, say things against the government.
Gotcha.
You can send your friend a message. Oh, I don't like what the government did. Fine. You can have a coffee with your friends and talk about things you don't like. You cannot send out a giant petition and make a big campaign for everyone to meet at 12 o'clock to protest outside the government building, right?
No kings. You're not doing no kings.
No, there's none of that. But if you think about it, that doesn't actually, like, people do it here, but only because it makes them feel good, not because it honestly, like, it's gonna change anything. So the people there, it's just not in their DNA to want to do that. And there's like this, like a 0.0001% who wants to do it there, and they end up going to jail or prison or whatever the thing is. But the normal Chinese citizen is not concerned about such things. They're free to live their life and make every kind of decision they want about their life, other than standing in front of the government building with a sign that says, like, go to hell, like Xi Jinping or whatever. That's like the only thing that you can't do, which most people don't have any interest in doing that.
Oh, so interesting. Okay. So tell us about taking Autoblow from like idea to now you've got AI and things involved. Like, what was the trajectory of the product and the company?
Look, first thing was to just get it was not, in hindsight, it was not an amazing product, but I found a product at the beginning that some factory made, and I was able to I said, I'll take that one. And I put it in a box, and we said, that's Autoblow. Then we start to learn about the business of selling that product, okay? And then I start to learn from the customers what features they wanted. And then after I had, gained information from what was wrong with the product, I said, okay, we can't just like buy someone's product. That's like a party trick, making money from white labeling a product. The real business came from improving upon that product. And at first that was hard to do. It's hard. Everyone, if you go to any factory, they'll say, yeah, we're your best guys. We can help you to do that, but it's not the case. So I floundered for a couple of years trying to find the right partners to work with, which actually now I still work 17 years later with the same guys that helped me with my first development. I met them just randomly at an adult industry event in Las Vegas, just at like a booth. I said, oh, I live in China. And they said, oh, we live there too. We make stuff. And just happen to still use the same guys. But I just set out to improve the product. It helped at the time that I made a crowdfunding campaign in 2014 on Indiegogo. So I was the highest crowdfunded male sex toy.
I bet you were, yeah.
And the news wasn't just like that. I was the star in the video kind of pitching the product. And that was very unusual at the time. Usually you use some like porno ladies to, talk for you. And it was me, and my video was really cringy. And so the news was not just that this product was pre-selling hundreds of thousands of dollars, but that it's this guy, and people are still buying this. Like, that's what the demand was, that it's just this fucking weird guy talking in front of like a green screen, making jokes, and people went nuts for it. And so once, that was like started us out understanding how the media environment worked. I started, for many years, not just improving the product. Improving the product is like half of it. It was media stunts that have been the other half over time. We had a vaginal beauty contest, which now I would be like canceled for having a vaginal beauty contest. But in 2015, you can Google it, it went so viral, and all these women submitted photos, and I had millions of people from around the world voting on the photos, like hot or not, but for vagina photos, and they gave them ratings. And then we did all this data science with like the ratings. We tried to figure out like, well, why did they vote this way? And do people from different countries express different preferences in the vaginal like appearance? And someone made a short documentary about it. So anyway, over time, I learned how to not only improve the product, but simultaneously I learned how to communicate my product to the media as news by giving them something that gets views for them, but also being related to the brand. So
that's fascinating. So, okay, tell us your takeaways from this vaginal beauty contest. What kind of vaginas did people like in 2016?
It was a long time ago. There's our papers. If you search for like vagina contest, there's a paper, we call it the vulva paper. The vulva paper is still online. I hired a scientist, like a data scientist who normally studies fish, to actually analyze all this data about the contest, about preference. I don't remember the takeaways. It's been a long time. I just remembered this. This is the only thing to know. This was very engaging to people. They liked to go to the website. They liked to just next one to vote on them. Yeah. And they liked that it wasn't like professionals. It was just normal women from around the world who submitted their pictures. And that was, I think, part of the fun. It was a different time, 2015.
Talk about that, because, oh my God, it does seem like a lifetime ago. And the norms 10 years ago were totally different than what we're working with today. So like, how has your marketing had to evolve?
Look, my marketing used to be really crude at the beginning. If I look at my early marketing, you can find it like on a Wayback Machine. It was like, it was horrible. It was like now I'm 45. It was like the 28-year-old me. It was like, don't go to prostitutes. They're expensive. Like, they'll give you a disease. Just use the Autoblow. Like, it was horrible, but it worked. I wouldn't, it worked. And now it's like, the ultimate realism, sync with videos, feel what you see. We don't like talk about prostitutes or the dangers or like it never talks back. Like, you don't need to make it dinner. That was like our 2000, that was our 2008, 9, 10 marketing. And it worked, it's just different
Was your
times.
wife like...
Well, I didn't have a wife then. Oh, now I have a wife and everything. No, then I didn't have any. No one was like, hey, maybe that's a bit harsh. I didn't have anyone to say any of that to me. So I got to develop the business organically.
Nice. Okay, so now we are moving in this like AI direction. When did you start incorporating that piece of it?
Yeah, so that was a different crowdfunding campaign in 20... Oh no, was that even that was the AI one. Yeah, 2017, 18.
Oh,
I realized that
time.
It was early on this. Well, we always just looked at like what's the technology that is available to other people and that no one is using in adult, and can we leverage that in adult? So we knew that machine learning was a thing, and I thought, well, what can I do with machine learning that relates to adult? And what I realized was that for men's toys, even the other competing automatic ones, imagine that the most important thing that your product does is stroke a penis. And then imagine for the modes, that's like a haphazard selection of what the modes do. You're like, yeah, how about a little stroking there? And like the main thing was just an afterthought. So then I did a machine learning study. We analyzed 1,000 hours of blowjob videos and using machine learning. And so we understood what are the most common movements that occur from the mouth on the penis. And then we got this information, then we programmed the modes based on the information we learned from this study. So I think that was the first thing that we did, and that also got us a lot of press, being first at that. And then since then, for example, even just last week, we launched our AI. This is kind of a weird thing. For people who don't know about it, this is AI girlfriend experience. So we made up these fake women inside of our web app that connects with our products. And so they look real. Like you would think it's a real photo. And we made sexy videos of them and all this. And so we gave them personalities, and they chat with you, but they have access to the API that controls the product. So they decide what happens to your penis while you're chatting with them. Like they're controlling your product remotely.
Interesting.
Yeah. And mainly, and this doesn't exactly use AI, but our products now all sync with videos. So we have this video library.
Mean?
Oh, it means that like you log into our system and you see all these videos, kind of like Pornhub, but it's not Pornhub. It's our own like mini version of Pornhub. And I've licensed all those movies from various performers. And when you press play on a video, it moves. Your machine has been programmed. The video has been programmed to sync with the machine, meaning the machine moves exactly as what the action is in the video. So you don't just watch porn now, you feel porn. And also we work with a third-party site in Slovenia. It's the leader in VR videos. So you can put on an Oculus, you can put on your Autoblow, and you actually, in VR, feel what you see in the VR videos. It's very weird, actually.
What has been the customer response to all this new stuff? When they've tried out the real programming, were they like, whoa, this is way different?
Look, I think that on the mode side, I don't get a lot of feedback from them. But I think that, let's say that it affected, I think, in their minds how it feels using it, knowing that it's real. It's a less direct, like, wow, than the video sync. Like, the video sync is like the dopamine, like all the stuff, right to your brain, connected with with reality at that point. Because it's not just watching and then doing with your hand. It's like feeling and watching and feeling what you're watching. This really caught on with the customers. And we know this because we see how much time they spend using that. And it's a lot.
Are you scared about the future?
People used to ask me this, like journalists, like, well, we did the other AI stuff. And I thought that their question was like kind of stupid. Like they'd say like, oh, are the men gonna stop wanting to have sex with women? Is this gonna be bad? And I thought like, okay, this is just like a conversation starter. It's like kind of bullshit question. But now that we started to sync with videos, and now that we started to sync with VR videos, and now that we offer them these conversations with people who talk to you like a person, I do feel that the risk of the things that we offer has definitely increased for what it might do to some group of men who maybe were on the border of never wanting to be with other people. And this gives them such a high level of satisfaction that they can make that choice and be a lot more satisfied than before. Before, if your choice was like human relationships or like VHS porno jerking off, you might be like, well, yeah, I like that, but I'll take like real life when I can get it or whatever. But then you offer them DVDs, then you offer them 4K and 8K, then you offer them VR. Now it syncs with the machine. I feel like there is a section of men who will get, pushed a bit further and further away from other human relationships just based on how satisfying it is to use this kind of thing. So I do think that the risk of that has definitely, it's not a joke anymore or like a dumb thing to ask. It's real now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised by how many men are like addicted to porn in general. Like, and it's like Theo Vaughn, and it's like, you look really good, man. You could just go bang whoever you wanted, and like you're struggling with it. Like that to me is like a red warning light that like, oh my God.
Have you ever used an Oculus headset with VR porn? Have you ever seen what that's like?
Not with porn. I've just done, like a couple years ago, I did a headset thing, but no, not with porn, I'm sure.
Okay, check out the latest one, okay, and check it out with VR porn, and you'll say, this blurs the line of reality and cheating, and it rewrites really the rules of, it brings, like maybe some women don't like that their partner like watches porn or whatever, but they think of that, it's like on a screen, they already feel weird about that. If they ever knew that what it's like to watch VR porn, it's like you're there. Try it, give it a try, and see how you feel about that.
No, I believe you. Yeah,
it's very real. And yeah, if you struggle with porn on your screen, imagine when the minute you buy a headset, you're so deep in the rabbit hole because it's so convincing.
Yeah, you're just never gonna leave your apartment, and it's gonna be with a white film.
Yes.
How do you deal with, so knowing that like you're part of this movement and like there are some elements that are like, did warning labels? Is that right? How have you thought about it?
Yeah, we did
it.
It
was a stunt?
Kind of a stunt. We did a campaign like we were going to put these cigarette warning labels on our machines, to warn people of the dangers of addiction. And, I got some like press out of it. I don't know that I'd really stick a warning label on it. I thought about it. I printed warning labels. But I do think that in the future, people should know. They should at least, it's not going to be regulated by the government or something. But I do think people should understand the risk, that it's different than just turning on their Pornhub account and taking a look.
Yeah, totally. So how has your own relationship to like sex and pleasure changed owning this company?
I don't know that it has.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like in what way, if I wanted to use sex toys, I would just go out and buy them, let's say, right? So, developing them, I don't need to use them all the time. Like I need to test. Masturbation does become more of a business part of life. Like we make new sleeves for the Ultra. I need you to approve the sleeves. Here's the texture I want to see, and I have to like try them. Or here's the new machine. I need to give feedback on the stuff. We're making like some new product. So I don't know that it's changed or that the masturbation or other stuff is any more common now that I make the stuff. I do have to sometimes masturbate for business. Which is a little bit hard to fit into my life because I might have, whatever. It's the package arrived from DHL. The factory wants an answer. I need to go, well, no one is around for 20 minutes into the bathroom and try out like 4 new sleeve textures and then kind of like write my thoughts about each one. It's not that exciting. It's not
Yeah.
If anything, it's sort of like not sexy to do the business because it becomes normal for you and it's not sexy anymore.
Totally. I get that. Okay, so I want to take a turn at the end of this convo and talk about, so you have a wife now, you have kids. Yeah. What about that aspect of the business and how it makes you reflect on just male sexuality and your contribution? And
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I'm there yet thinking about my contribution. I take it day by day because I have a 4 and a 6-year-old, and we're just like scrambling, you know? I got married, I think we've been married, 2016, so it's 8 years, something like that. No, I mean, the interesting thing is that, you know, I live in a small community next to Seattle, and my kids are in school and everyone knows what I do. But I think because I handle it in a normal way, I don't try to hide it. I think if I hid it from people, if I was like, oh, I work in technology, and then they'd be like, that's the guy that works in sex toys, right? But I tell people, oh, what kind of work do you do? I go at the school, whatever. We're meeting the other parents in our first grade class. What do you do? Oh, I make sex toys for men. I say it like right up front. And so I think that's impactful, that you show people that you're not hiding anything from them, that you don't, I don't think that that's anything that I need to hide from them. And I think people respect that. There was one weird thing. There was a political campaign on the island that I know in our town that I know that a lady kind of blocked my wife from participating in this campaign where this guy could have won because she didn't like what I did, and she thought that my wife helping could be hurtful to this candidate. And that was like actually hurtful to all of us. But we've been here in this town 5 years, and this happened like one time. So I do know that, for example, like if my wife wanted to run for school board, there's nasty people out there, and they would look up all my website stuff, and they would say, this is and it's like, that's not even her. She doesn't do any of it. She actually doesn't follow it at all. But they would say, this is the kind of like people you want on school board. And meanwhile, she'd be like the best person at it. So, you know, there's probably some real life effects, but in my daily life, you know, I'm open with everyone in the community what I do. And I think most people at least think it's interesting. It's like different than all the other people who work at like Facebook or whatever.
Yeah, I always think that stigma is such bullshit anyway. Even if like you're a sex worker or whatever, it's like some of the best people I know.
If I was a sex worker, they would gossip, okay? About the sex toys, I think they're like, okay, I get it, you make like a thing. But if I was like, oh, I have sex with people for money, I think that might pass their like small town limit of like being open-minded or whatever their thing is.
I'm just saying, I think it's bullshit. When I encounter it, I'm like, I can't even, we shouldn't be here right now, but we are. Any final thoughts on, you know, how you help men masturbate better? Any parting wisdom?
No, look, there's not wisdom. I mean, look, we're going to enter complicated times, okay, for sexuality and for loneliness. And I think it's something that people should think about in the same way that maybe you like to eat chocolate or something, right? But do you like just every day get yourself an entire box of chocolate, you know, because you just like chocolate? Like, maybe not. Maybe you like think about the calories and the effect, and you're like, I eat like a few pieces here and there. So I kind of think that with how real porn is becoming, and we're in the 2025 version of VR, okay, 4K or 8K. It's going to be like 50K, whatever, like real life with smells and like all the rest. So I think people do need to think about what's healthy and how much of the good stuff is sort of a healthy limit, because it will be very possible in the near future to get really sucked down a rabbit hole that might not be long-term healthy, but might be short-term very, very gratifying, more than any other thing that's ever happened to men. All of humanity's time, you know?
Good luck, men. You're known for making really good decisions about this stuff.
Right. I mean, what do you think? Does it sort of dovetail with your understanding of men?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's a risk for anyone who's kind of like has an addictive personality or it is socially doesn't feel the most comfortable. I think, you know, we're definitely going to have some of those stories, and like the ChatGPT delusion stories that are already coming out. It's like, there's going to be like a chunk of people that get sucked into that. And I think you're totally right that like, I also think there's going to be a resurgence, though, of like how much in real life stuff matters to us. And maybe that's just the millennial in me. But you're saying it looks like real life, so maybe that's where it gets confusing. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I wish it'd be like, yeah, maybe people will they'll realize this is the bad road, and everyone will start doing like meetup.com again and having stitching meetups or making blankets together. I mean, that would be super nice, but I think that the power of just how real porn is becoming, and that you can not only watch it but feel it. It'd be one thing if it was, and I feel like, look, someone asked me, I know someone who lives around here who just wrote a book about AI and the dangers of AI. She thinks it's the biggest danger to humanity is that AI will kill off humanity. And she has a lot of ways that she thinks that it can do it. The risk is to understand the risk. I mean, the risk is like not understanding the risk of all of that, and doing it without thinking, just thinking like, oh, this is great. This is more great. Suddenly, I don't know. I mean, I'm not like a doomsday guy, but, I know what I was going to say. It's that, she asked me, this woman who thinks that AI is like kind of the end of humanity, the biggest risk. She asked, well, why do you keep doing it if you think it's like potentially dangerous for people? And I don't have like a great answer. The true answer is like, I'm responding to the needs of my customers, right? And so for me to have a business, right? Like I don't, I could make like, I'm at a table with like 1 million pieces of my kid's puzzle. Like you don't have to love puzzles to like make puzzles, right? I don't like, I love the technology. Like it's very interesting, I think, what I do, but I'm responding to the demand from those people. And if I'm not doing it, my competitor is going to do it. Like it's very clear that people are going to do it. I'm in the best position to do it. So all I can do is just tell people, I'm not going to end my livelihood over it, but I am going to tell them, honestly, just be a little bit more careful than you'd think you'd need to be playing with this kind of stuff, because it can get a little bit out of hand.
Perfect way to end. Where can people find the product online?
They can just go to autoblow.com.
Autoblow.com. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Private Parts Unknown. This is a video episode of the podcast. You can listen to it on the podcast feed. You can also watch it on the YouTube channel. Just search for Private Parts Unknown. You can help support the show and get a behind the scenes peek at onlyfans.com/CocoPeepShow. That is onlyfans.com/CocoPeepShow. Also, my debut memoir, Girl Gone Wild, is coming out April 1st. Please pre-order your copy. It really helps. Rate, review, like, comment, subscribe. Until next time. Love you, privates.